15 minutes. Actually. What? Is that... Go really close to it, then it loads in the bottom. What if those leaves, they're solidifying? You know what? I bet you, using the leaves to solidify like this, you can find a, you can discover chunks with this thing. Like, that's the chunk border right there. Alright. I'm playing on my RAM streaming. Penguin uploaded a video called Porch Pirate Store. I hate Porch Pirates. Porch Pirates are losers. What a loser. You know what they do? You know, Porch Pirates stuff and they dip. Like a bunch of losers. I have no problem calling them losers. Like they just steal your stuff, bruh. I'm trying to find something good. Yeah, and it's like speed limit enforced by aircraft. Yeah. There's these people developing a brand new World of Worlds game, and it actually looks pretty cool. Okay, that's a good question I have that I need answered. Somebody went into Reactor 4. If you had to ask me, what is the most dangerous room you can get into? Or one of the most difficult things to get into? Or places to get to, probably. It's not Mount Everest, okay? Not that. There's something harder than that. Reactor 4 Chernobyl. It's completely sealed off. Not even the most bravest of the brave people dare to enter. Because once you go in, and even if you theoretically got out, you don't have much time. As your life has probably been cut into a fragment of what it could have been had you not walked into Reactor 4. It has got extremely radioactive fuel-containing isotopes inside. And the thing about radiation, it don't discriminate. It'll tear you apart no matter what and who you are. It will destroy you on a cellular level, and you won't feel the pain, but then you'll start to slow down. You'll start to feel fatigue and ache and pain. Then you'll start profusely vomiting. Then you're going to start having skin peel off of your body. You'll feel fatigued. You'll feel like you can't do anything. Your body will slow down, slowly shut down, and mutate until it forms cancer cells, which will develop into tumors slowly over a span of days, weeks, months, and then it's slow. The most dangerous room is that and the elephant's foot room. As there's a... What the heck? What? Wait, what? How do my subtitles go into Hindi?
A lot of time above the reactor.
Yeah, if you go into this reactor, you will get
The
cooked.
Chernobyl zone end here, 300 meters away from the arch. Or in other words, a new safe confinement that covers the power unit. Basically, Block 4 resembles a matryoshka, a destroyed reactor covered by a sarcophagus, which is then covered by the new confinement. The idea to build the arch was not a new one, and the discussion to build it began right after the initial sarcophagus. It's in our opinion that above the existing structure, when radioactive conditions are stable, we should bring up a new structure, a so-called cover 2, which can be dismantled by future generations to resolve the issue. The results of the arch can already be seen.
It'll probably be until
2014, and now it reads much lower. We'll show the arch.
It'll probably be about future to 100, even up to 200, even millions of years. But at the fewest, we have about into about 1,000 years until we can start re-inhabiting Pripyat. It's gonna remain contaminated for hundreds of years.
Was sarcophagus? This we can't answer, because inside the deadly sarcophagus were people. The name of the person in this picture is Konstantin Chetrov, a man who spent a lot of time above the reactor, under it, and even inside of it. According to certain documents, he was the most irradiated human being in the world. He received somewhere between 2.5 to 4 deadly doses of radiation, roughly 1,500 R to 2,000 R. But despite his exposure, he lived a long life given his work environment. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2012. But I still managed to meet someone else who was also
that guy didn't get cooked.
This is Alexander Kupnik, an individual who between 1988 and 2010 has been inside the NPP many times and knows exactly what is happening there right now. Ruins. Equipment. Broken down. Ruins of building structures. All of it is coated with radiation. Fuel can be found everywhere.
And the thing about radiation is that it can't simply be removed. So basically, whatever you use to clean up the reactor, you can't use that piece of equipment until like in a few thousand years when everything decays. So basically, all the bulldozers they left, they're just junk. You can't use them anymore because they've been irradiated. They're contaminated. That's why if I ever go to Chernobyl, I will throw away any piece of clothing I have. It's great to do that. However, it's been kind of postponed, I think, due to the invasion of Ukraine. They don't do chores a lot. Is that same brown panda that keeps wandering? No, that's a new brown panda. There's another brown panda.
These unique shots were taken by Sergei Koshylev. This is what's inside the sarcophagus of the destroyed block.
Oh, hell no!
What you see now is fuel cassettes with uranium that were inside the explosive reactor. The white dots you see on the film are not a characteristic of the tape. It's radiation.
Dude, that's cool.
Alexander,
hell no, that guy's got balls of steel. He's in the sarcophagus. Oh my god, entering that place is almost impossible.
a lot of time inside tells unbelievable stories. Radiation can't be seen, but you can see it on film, photos and videos. You can taste it. Strontium has a metallic taste, and plutonium, based on the words of those who worked in Chelyabinsk, where it was handled. A friend of mine used to work there. Unfortunately, he died of cancer, but he did state that plutonium is sweet.
That's creepy.
Whether you believe it, I don't know, but you can taste it. can also smell it.
Sometimes.
Speaking to Techerov, I said that it smells like ozone, and he said that, yes, by ozone we define the level of radiation intensity. Once you
Because
sense ozone, you've got to run, because it means there are levels of over 1,000 R per hour.
yeah,
So,
because I think it like turns the oxygen and the ozone.
Get a deadly intake, maybe a little bit more. That's how by the smell, liquidators measured radiation. Alex is a photographer, and today I get an opportunity to show you his unique shots. The green wall on the left is the reactor's roofing, weighing in at 2,000 tons, nicknamed Elena. It blew off from the explosion and was cast aside. Alex also documented underground rooms. These stalactites are frozen nuclear fuel that leaked via steam pipe and froze under the reactor. This is the most famous fuel drop, a so-called elephant foot. It emitted 14,000 R per hour in 1986. It looks like an elephant's foot, hence the name. Ah, that makes sense. I see it. The people who discovered it said, "Oh, we found such a beautiful thing down here." The people always tried to see beauty in the surroundings because it keeps you positive. That could be why down there we find octopus beam, mammoth constructions. People named them and personified them. Alexander Kutny shot video of fuel cells under the reactor. Now, you see that same reservoir where water had to be released by the Chernobyl divers. Part of the fuel ended up here at the time, when the reservoirs were still full of water. Luckily, there was no explosion. An explosion that Valery Legasov was so worried about, and this melted fuel just froze. Nonetheless, it's still dangerous. It'll be dangerous for a very long time. Not because of gamma or beta, but the transuranium elements, division members of fuel, plutonium, americium, and the alpha carriers. You can't measure alpha radiation
No.
since it's blocked by beta and gamma. Alpha radiation is the most dangerous. Once it penetrates you, it does not come out.
Exactly.
It releases all its power into you. Small particles? Yes.
Exactly. That is true. Beta can be blocked by a piece of paper, let alone glass. So even the plastic. So the plastic of a Geiger counter like this one and other Geiger counters will block beta, or no, it'll block alpha rays. Now, alpha rays, if you're exposed to them and you have normal clothing on, it shouldn't be way too toxic. However, the problem is if they find a way inside, if you inhale, breathe them in, or consume alpha particles, then that's when the stuff happens. Now, again, you're probably inhaling alpha particles right now, but not to a rate that you can even feel or be harmed by it. However, if you do expose things, like if you do overexpose yourself to radiation, this is where problems start to occur. Now, even though it's a very low dosage of radiation that you can get from the uranium glass that I have, I always try to limit my exposure and limit how much I contact the glass. Now, in and of itself, uranium glass is not a harmful thing until it is broken or damaged. Once a piece of uranium glass is broken or damaged, it is considered a threat and needs to be removed and contained. If you break a piece of uranium glass, the area, I'd say probably at least 50 meters around that, should be evacuated, and there should not be allowed any wind or water to be flowing into the presence, therefore limiting the contamination factor.
It is difficult to remove, and it gives all its energy to you. How long does the decay take? Hundreds of thousands of years. For hundreds of thousands of years, these dangerous particles will be inside this block. If, of course, we don't take them out. This is why the new confinement has been built. It took me half a year to get permission to enter the Arch, so it is pretty exclusive. This block will soon begin operations, and it will become impossible to get in. It is the only place where you can see the old sarcophagus. And here it is, a stone's throw away from me. So let's talk about the Arch now. It is currently the largest moving structure on land, with a height of 110 meters, width of 257 meters, and weighing 36,000 tons. The point of the Arch is to physically block the dust that will appear once we begin to dismantle it, and most importantly, to help with the dismantling of unstable structures with further extraction of fuel cells that remain within the block. To aid in deconstruction, the arch is equipped with machinery and cranes that can lift 50 tons. And so they could work with contaminated structures, separate rooms were installed. Still, it's hard to predict when this work will be initiated. The ultimate goal of this entire additional construction is to get rid of all the waste that is currently in Block 4. But how this will be done, and when, is still unknown, since there is no technique to make it a reality. This is why the arch is basically only temporary insurance that will function for the next 100 years. It secures the old structure and sarcophagus that is nearing the end of its life expectancy. Within this given period, it will either be us or our children who will have to remove the fuel cells out of the ruins of NPP. This Wednesday.
If you have been recently diagnosed or living with a brain tumor, you're not alone. We welcome you to.
I know that one. It's like, a lot. It's like, a bunch of these video games, like this is fiction. Like Fallout 4 is fiction, but like all the nuclear apocalypse is fiction. But this isn't fiction. This is real. If you tried hard, you could get to this place. You could go to Chernobyl. You could literally, if you're luckier, you can even go into the power plant itself. You can't get into reactor 4. Yeah, you get. It's very special. You can actually get into the plant, but it's very hard to. They restrict it heavily. Hopefully, if I ever do try to get into Chernobyl and I try to tour Pripyat, hopefully by the time I do, the radiation levels should be substantially lower than they are right now. Years old, it'd still be dangerous, but still, just a little bit less dangerous. Every day it gets a little bit less dangerous.
It is currently 6 a.m. in Slavutich, Ukraine. Slavutich is the satellite city for the Chernobyl nuclear power plant that was purpose-built after the disaster for all the workers.
We're in Ukraine today because I want to show you what Chernobyl is actually like.
The first thing that we're going to do to start our Chernobyl excursion is we're going to suit up and we're going to get on the very same train as the workers at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Workers go to the power plant to continue monitoring, decommissioning, providing services to the people who still work at the plant, security, cafeterias, that sort of thing. We are going to learn and to observe and to have some sort of cultural exchange, if you will. We will be under a careful eye for what we do, how we operate, how we carry ourselves, what we're actually doing inside the plant. So we will be mostly shadowing and checking out and following the lead of all the other scientists for this day one.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh. Oh my god, they go into the golden corridor?
So upon entering Chernobyl, the first thing that you have to do is go through a kind of airlock process, but for radiation. So on one side of this room, back behind me are another set of lockers, just like this. This is where you put all your clothes, your street clothes that you'll be wearing after you get out. Once you get in, you come to this locker room. You get in front of a lovely woman who sizes you up for the clothes that you need, and then you put on clothes from the power plant. These are clothes you can get dirty, but these stay on this side of the radiation airlock, so to
Yes.
speak. So you come in to the power plant, you do what you're going to do, and then when you're done, you put your clothes in a locker like this one, so that you know that any contamination you may have accumulated is staying in one place, and then you go back through the radiation airlock to your own clothes. It's a very easy, rudimentary system, but it's clean, and it works.
The golden corridor, there it is. The magical golden corridor. Beautiful.
Behind that wall, Unit 4.
Oh, yeah?
Right now.
It's hard to overstate where I am. Behind this wall is reactor unit number 4. The site of the worst nuclear disaster in human history, right behind us right here. You can hear the cacophony of Geiger counters and scintillators going on. Our scientists with us in our team are now using this corridor as a test bed to test their methods and their tools. They're checking the dust on all of these pipes. They're checking the walls, the floors, where some of these fission products have settled over time. What better place to test your ability to measure radiation than just a few meters from an exploded nuclear reactor?
water pump room.
Inside of here are the main pumps that would have circulated the cooling water in unit number 3. If you want to get an idea for what happened when unit number 4 exploded, inside of this room, this gigantic cavity here, when reactor number 4 exploded, all of this entire wall here would have collapsed on us. And that's what happened to
Oh yeah, they're in the NPP.
first fatality.
CNPP.
Power plant.
They're in like the actual plant, but you can act the reactor 1, 2, and 3 are still open, but 4 is permanently sealed and you cannot go into it. Not even like as a if you were like the top of the top of the top there, it's sealed permanently. Well, they'll begin destroying it and they'll begin disassembling it, but that will take years, decades, centuries.
This is the control room for reactor number 3. We're seeing it here today at Chernobyl as kind of a before.
Oh yeah, you can go in the third reactor.
The afterwards, that is reactor unit number 4. This is where safety operations would sit. This is where you would look at they are in the core. This is what and where went wrong in unit number 4, and we'll be seeing that next.
AZ5. Yeah, again. Yep. Boss's wife's on is in Tampa. Yep, she's all the way in Florida.
Shortly after the reactor operators in control room 4 began their low power test, things went awry. Shocks, explosions, numbers on the screen that wouldn't make any sense. They attempted to press this button right here. It's called a scram.
Scram.
Button. And this
Or
button
AZ5.
will initiate all of the control rods shoving themselves all the way into the core to
However,
neutrons,
the idiots
stop the
that
nuclear chain
made
reaction.
this
But when
thing.
you press this scram button,
Alexa, does graphite accelerate nuclear reactions?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes.
Oh my god, are they stupid? They lined the tips of a control rod. A control rod is a thing you put in the reactor and it slows down the reaction and kills the reactor. Done. That, along with circulating water, keeps the reactor contained. So, because these idiots designed the reactor with graphite-tipped rods. Graphite, by the way, again, it accelerates a nuclear reaction. The reactor, instead of shutting down, it actually reversed and it started speeding up. Reactor 4. What was its operating limit? Let's see. Can I get nuclear power? Okay, and I can get RBMK 1000 on the Wikipedia page. Yep, alright. Let's see, I think a few years... Let's see. One of the reactors was shut down. Let's see, RBMK in Leningrad 2 was shut down 2020. And one in Kursk was shut down. The reactors that caused Chernobyl's explosion there are some out there still operating. Yes, you heard me right. This flawed reactor type. There are 8 reactors currently initiated. Let's see. Oh shoot. Let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There are 26 RBMKs 1000 / RBMK 1500 reactors. One of them was destroyed. That's Chernobyl 4. Let's see. Of the 26, 1, 2, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. Of the 26, 9 have been canceled. 8 of them have been shut down. 1 of them has been destroyed, and the rest of the 8 are going to close down. 1, thankfully, is going. Kursk number 2 is going to shut down next year, and in June in 2025, they are going to shut down Leningrad 3, and then in August of 26, they're going to shut down Leningrad 4, and Leningrad 4 will permanently cease operations. I cannot wait until they all be. By the end of 2034, all RBMK 1000s and 1500s will be permanently taken offline. The quicker those reactors be taken offline, is the quicker this world is a little bit safer. They need to be removed. They need to be destroyed and disassembled. We've already seen what happens when one goes up in flames. The thing is, about a reactor, like the United States has had one critical incident, 3 Mile Island. And what happened? It was a partial meltdown. But before an explosion could happen, we put the control rods in, and everything was okay. There was some controversy, but we were able to shut it down safely. However, basically, imagine like, let's compare this to brakes, right, Wyatt? So, that because they put graphite, which makes the reactor go faster and makes it go more efficiently, that's basically like pressing the brakes. Like you're about to run into the back of a car and you're going like 8 miles an hour, and instead of actually when you press the brake, instead of stopping the car, it actually accelerates even faster. RBMK 1000, RBMK watts. You ready for this? It operated, but before it exploded, it operated at like 30,000. So 30 times its operating power. It sounds good, but that's how much power was being channeled. And the you know what a line graph is? Can you hear me? Do you know what a line graph is? It's like the thing, it's got like the line going through it, and it's got like the 2 lines going up and sideways. Like, it's a graph. The data chart on the reactor before it exploded, it went like straight up. Like, it went like, it didn't even like do like a slant almost, it went like straight up. Before it exploded. That, because it was, the reaction that it was having was so unstable that it just went, it made a, I think what's called a positive void coefficient. Which basically means that, you know, it keeps generating more fuel, and it generates more heat, and that heat keeps generating, or that from fission, and that fission is making more fission, it keeps making more, it keeps making more, until the thing is with steam, steam expands 1,000 times from its liquid form. Water does. When you expand something into a gas, it expands exponentially. So the reason why, for example, in lightning, the reason why trees explode is because the water and sap in the tree is being evaporated instantly into gas, and then the tree explodes because it cannot contain any more of the steam. This is why lightning explosions can be extremely violent. Now, again, that's scary. Because the thing is, is that the button they're supposed to press to shut it down actually sped it up and blew it to smithereens. As I said before, a 2,000 ton, I think a 1 to 2,000 ton lid, enough to weigh 183 Subaru 2023 Crosstrek Limiteds. 183 my car. It got thrown up into the air like a disc, and then it landed on its side. It got ass blasted, and I think there's even a point, if the Chernobyl show is right, the 700-pound blocks they put in the reactor were starting to be pushed up, and that shouldn't ever be happening, because not only was this a freak of mechanical engineering, basically what happened is that RBMK's reactor, for our reactors over here, we use purified uranium-235. Now, a problem with the reactor 4 in RBMK's is they use impure fuel. So that's basically instead of putting gasoline in your car, you try to mix gas yourself and you completely F it up and fail. So first of all, they're using poor fuel. The fuel quality was ass. Second, in the reactor, if you've ever seen a nuclear reactor over in the country, go visit Clinton, Illinois, and you'll find a Clinton nuclear power plant. Now, I'd say, I have not seen a nuclear reactor in this country, that did not have a concrete shield. So reactors have these concrete shields over them. That way, if they do explode, they're already contained. Chernobyl had a stupid-ass tin shed erected around it. That's like going from metal to contain an explosion to toothpicks. Tin siding. I'm not kidding you, it was almost like a barn. Our barn, how it was built, but a little bit better. That's literally how they contain this reactor. And RBMKs, they're not like baby reactors. They're big reactors. They're really big. And they're put into the ground. So these reactors are pretty freaking huge. And here's the problem about it, is that there's an elephant's foot and it's currently sinking very slowly in 50 years. And if we don't stop it, it's going to cause another explosion, or it'll contaminate the groundwater severely. And it's called corium. It's a nuclear lava made out of fuel. If we don't stop it, another catastrophe is upon us. Our generation needs to stop it before it hits groundwater level. It's only got 50 meters too. It's burning very quick. I get annoyed when people start doubting nuclear power, because that's bad, because Chernobyl was caused from, one, poor craftsmanship. The reactor was poorly made, it was poorly maintained, and the workers there, most of the workers, did not even know what to do. A lot of secrets were kept from them, so they couldn't even stop this thing. They didn't even know the whole ins and outs. So, So, one, it was badly built. It was not contained correctly. It did not use proper fuel. It did not use proper. The workers did not work it properly. So, human error. And those are the main causes of the accident. However, I will say it was contained. It was successfully contained. Yeah, at least the Chernobyl liquidators, those guys are heroes. Because the firefighters went into the reactor, or went close to it. They didn't even know that they were being exposed to extremely high amounts of radiation. And they died saving us. The people that put together, how they tried to get robots in. And the robots would die because of the amount of radiation. So they had to have people go up into the roof, and they said, hey, you got 90 seconds. Take a shovel, grab graphite, throw it over the edge. Don't even look. Like, by the way, even looking at this reactor up close would give you a good amount of big radiation. Yeah, like that's one of the scariest moments in the Chernobyl series. If you search it up, it's like, I think it's wrong. If you search up Chernobyl graphite clearing, this scene is one of the scariest scenes. It's not because there's anything horrifying, it's because you know it's hot.
To the roof. When you get to the top, wait inside behind the entrance to the roof and catch your breath. You will need it for what comes next. This is the working area. We must clear the graphite. Some of it is in blocks weighing approximately 40 to 50 kilograms. They all must be thrown over the edge here. Watch your comrades. Moving fast. From this opening, then turning to the left and entering the workspace here. These are the most important 90 seconds of your lives. Commit your task to memory, then do your job.
It's time to go. After 90 seconds, I will ring a bell. When you hear it, return immediately. Drop your shovels in the bin and proceed down the hallway for decontamination. Above all, while on the roof, throw your debris over the rail. Do not look over the rail. Is that clear? Very well.
Even looking at the reactor, because it's so close,
Go.
is a death sentence. And it just gets scary how it clicks faster as it gets close to the edge. And my favorite part is that you can see that these guys are clearly struggling to even get a few of these blocks over. It's because, as I said before, when you're under the presence of so much radiation, your body starts to slow down. You can actually see them, like, the actors did a really good job of showing how this happens. Because, like, you'd think they'd be able to get, like, a bunch of these blocks over, but they barely struggled to get one block over. 2 people did. Like, they're slowing down. They're suffering. You can... And they're using square shovels, too. I know how hard it is to pick up rocks with the square shovels. As he stares right into the reactor. My god, I hate this scene, because one thing that happens is the guy literally trips and cuts his boot. He gets his foot stuck in rebar. Right. He's got stuck under one of those graphite blocks too, like one of those.
Comrade soldier, you're done.
And after these guys did the graphite clearing, they were banned for life. They couldn't come back. They've already been because they were already exposed to so much radiation that they were just banned. You couldn't come back after you did this. I'm surprised they haven't used like a square-edged claw. They did use a claw, because the thing is, you could operate a claw with strings, and you could pull the strings from the top. So therefore, If you had like one of those T cranes, you could have probably cleared it a lot better. That's what I would have done. I wonder if they did do that. I think they did. You could take the crane and you can operate it from above. That'd be the safer method. Mm-hmm.
YouTube is the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket. Watch all your favorite NFL teams.
I only watch hockey because hockey's fun because people beat each other up.
We were climbing up the highest part of the Chernobyl zone. I was carrying a flag on my back, which sometimes scraped the rails of the stairs. The banner was red, but it had nothing to do with the ideology. At that time, we didn't know any other banners except red. We were dragging it at the top in the honor and for the memory of those who had finished today this inhumanely difficult and deadly dangerous work. People said that it was our common great victory. Perhaps yes. However, for me, it will remain the aggregate of separate, personal, and individual victories.
I think when they got done with Chernobyl cleaning it up, they raised the Soviet flag above it.
This number I will retain in my memory for the rest of my life. I visit Chernobyl often, almost every 2 to 3 years. I understand that the nostalgia for the time of the global catastrophe is, to put it mildly, quite suspicious. But I am attracted by this place as an ex-soldier attracted by the past battlefields. Perhaps that everything that was happening here 25 years ago looked pretty much like war.
Все вы знаете, недавно нас постигла беда. Авария на Чернобыльской атомной электростанции. 26 апреля, час 23 минуты, произошла авария.
Многие советские одобряли меры, предпринимаемые государством в связи с аварией Чернобыльской АЭС.
Впервые реально столкнулись с такой грозной силой. Частичным разрушением активной зоны реактора.
Хотят внести свой личный вклад в ликвидацию его последствий.
Появляется ядерная энергия, вышедшая из-под контроля.
On September 1st, 1986, I was flying on a regular rendezvous with Masha. Lately, I was doing it almost every day. By that time, all that the destroyed reactor had spit out was collected and buried. Now, Bartoliere will work out and will go. Bartolierame, we called helicopters spraying over the area, a special blend of bardan,
They call it molasses.
which binded radioactive dust. Today, they were a couple of hours late, and from the top for 5 minutes, I was able to observe the destructive power of the peaceful atom. Well, the corridor is free, and hello, Masha. I feel all of your 1,000 Roentgens by a familiar chill of vile fear. I do not remember who first had the idea to call the working areas on the roofs using female names, but the names remained. Area K, Katya, a weak woman, just up to 1,000 Roentgens. Luda and Nina, more impressive, with 1.5 to 2,000 Roentgens. Well, about Masha, we all spoke only in reverent whispers. We represent a group for dosimetry
investigation. 32 volunteers who were to prepare the cleaning of the roofs. All were nothing else but civilians, but in a moment becoming more military. The commander, Yuri Samoylenko, headquarters chief, Viktor Golubov, and the headquarters, a small undamaged room under the roof. Here in this room, decisions are made and the scope of work is determined. Here also the main task is specified. Everything is to be done by the robots. People should be used only in case of emergency. Until that day, everything seemed to go according to plan. Robots were collected from around the world, one by one. It was an ordinary tractor with a remote-controlled cable. It was sheathed in lead, and we attached a bulldozer blade and named it Fyodor. Fyodor worked no worse than the other handsome robots, mounted on a chassis lunar rover, the same one that was deployed on the moon in the mid-70s. However, they worked only in the low-level Katya and Nina regions. Masha still did not allow us to enter. For her, a very special lady, a German police robot with the playful name Joker, was bought. Actually, today, I was flying to determine the route for its deployment on the roof. And when I returned, I found out that when it landed, this German robot refused to work.
It died. It got fried by the radiation. Robot didn't stand a chance.
When people ask me what associations I have with Chernobyl, I reply, I associate it with the chime. With ordinary ringing, we signal to each other about the end of the shift or about the possible dangers. And also with a small Röntgen-level accumulator that each of us was wearing on his chest like a cross. The so-called calculator of life.
That's ghastly. Calculator of life. Kinda is what it was.
Every night we took records and noted in the journal the dose received every day. Gradually, it increased and achieved the maximum permissible threshold, 25 rem. After that, the man had to be taken away from the area, or as we called it, discarded. It was an interesting threshold. Some deliberately overcame it. They did not take the X-ray calculator on their ships, knowing that if they would be discarded, recruits who had no experience would be forced to begin work anew. Others asked people going to work to take their calculators with them. We did not refuse. It is useless to keep an unreliable person, so that these devices measured not only the level of radioactivity, but the level of human dignity. After working in the zones with high radiation, you begin to understand that radiation is not only dangerous, but also insidious. It seemed to affect even the psyche. Sometimes an experienced, well-trained person, in the most crucial moment, suddenly lost his self-control, made a lot of mistakes, and he was lucky if it finished with just injury. That is why we were desperately pulling robots to clean roofs. For God's sake, not to leave this work for people.
SGU put me in the best position to become a doctor, to really feel that sense of community.
Yeah,
from the very...
that's scary. Like I wonder if we can have robots that could advance the reactor 4. Maybe we've advanced robots that far? And those cranes, they can lift 50 tons. It's not going to do anything against that reactor lid.
Почему разрывных, чтобы не было рикошета? И обрабатываем вот этот вот завод. Здесь перебиваем трубопроводы, которые лежат. Графитовые блоки в муку толпем. С этой стороны. А дальше гидромонитором смываем. А здесь роботом сдвигаемся на завод.
Of course, for robots, it was easier to handle the small fragments. And of course, we were not allowed to shoot in the blocks with a gun. At the same time, we were pressed. Do it faster. The country can no longer stand this nightmare. Despite the protests of Samoylenko, we had to release the Joker right on the graphite debris. There he stuck. Yuri Samoylenko, our civil general. Every time when people had to work on the roofs, he felt defeated as a person. He would be awarded the Hero of Socialist Labor, but he would never wear it. We knew that if the robots would not handle it, then a mass of people would be launched on the roofs. A relevant order had already been prepared by the governmental commission. The German robot was our last argument to avoid it. But first, Joker had to be revived. And it could be done only by the bio-robots. In other words, by us and by the soldiers who helped us. The last mission of the operation to free the Germans from Soviet captivity was given to me. Previous three-man teams managed to attach the robot to the windlass, and now we had to pull it free. The truth is that it wasn't very successful. In the remote control office, they also could not determine the cause. The camera had a limited view, and I had to make a so-called visual inspection and get more closely acquainted with the Joker. From the winch to the chimney was around 70 feet. You can approach around 10 meters. No more. A little bit more. All right, stop. You can't go any further. Here it is, our cutie. It has overridden a graphite block with its right caterpillar track, and now is sitting on 12,000 Roentgen fragments, like a hen on its nest.
Yeesh.
I'm adjusting the operator's work by radio, and there below, the guys are already able to work synchronously with the winch. Come on, guys, come on. I hear Golubev's voice distorted by interference. And, as if in response to these spells, the guys really starts to show signs of life. Vitya Golubev, a desperately brave man. He was ready to climb to the Joker by himself, but he must not. He has already accumulated as many REMs as bees on honey. Vitya will die a few years later, not quite 48 years old. Now, quickly back. It's good that I was lightly clad. Thus I've saved 10 to 15 seconds. But the boiler suit will need to be deactivated. Translating this scientific term into common language, just buried in a special waste burial place. I do not remember how many such procedures I have already made, but today my undies and t-shirt will die an untimely death. The Joker, freed with so much pain, still failed to work. Some idiot trying to prove to the world that there can be no global catastrophes at Soviet nuclear power stations. Underrated by a factor of 10 the radiation levels in its application. The pedantic Germans have programmed a robot in accordance with the order, and Joker died suddenly. The electronic brains of this guy burned out, so my heroic escapade was a bust. And also, we pulled the soldiers to the winch for nothing. We just had to keep silent while their commander took it out on us.
Надо инженерные расчеты, чтобы мой заработать. Я не занимался болтологией. Не хватит вот так
hell quite often. Indeed, we did not always refrain from cursing either. It was almost normal in such tense, almost unpredictable situations. But today, to hell was sent all that we're rushing for almost 2 months on the roofs of this damn station. We have lost. An incorrigibly optimistic Golubev was still trying to call somewhere and to prove something. But Samoylenko was already thinking about something else. What all of us have already known, robots failed, and the extra radioactive zones will have to be cleaned by men.
That must have been a tough pill to swallow.
The stupid pathological secrecy has become almost our national trait over the years. In Chernobyl, I felt this particularly clearly. First, they barefaced lied to the world that nothing terrible had happened, and then each month they assured us that the radiation levels were almost normal. Forget about the rest of the world, but they could have told the truth to their own people. Thousands of bewildered people expected and hoped. I will remember for a lifetime the notes on the gates of the abandoned houses. No dog in the yard. Already killed. Close the wicket, please. No dogs. Please do not hurt the cat, or mice will eat everything. It was a strange, sophisticated game of fate. I've seen this already. I was 13 years old when my grandmother and I went to a small Ural settlement of Kaslin, where my grandfather is buried. On that day, the accident occurred at the Mayak plant. It was a secret enterprise producing plutonium-238. However, nobody talked about it. In the settlement, we were stopped without explanation, taken to the railway carriage, standing on the nearby rails, and dressed in some old clothes. My brand new suit, together with a dozen houses around the plant, was quietly buried in my grandfather's cemetery. Very few people, even today, have heard anything about that accident. In the year 1957, it was still possible to hide, but in 1986, I was personally building the grandiose monument to the bitter mixture of villainy and heroism. September 17th, 1986. For the first time since the beginning of the accident, the area under the roof at the entrance to the M zone was crowded. By order of the government commission, the army was sent on the offensive. General Tarakanov was commanding the operation. I listened to Tarakanov, and I thought that probably this same way they tried to hearten the People's Volunteer Corps of the Patriotic War before sending them to blast the tanks with bottles of Molotov cocktails. However, what else could the general do in this situation where the old saying, trouble will teach, has become the main postulate of the survival theory? Not enough radio sets, they used a rail. No radiation protection suits, they made the protective suits out of lead sheets by hand. Front strap, back plate, folding vest on the chest and back. But the main intimate detail of the lead costume was what the guys ironically called the egg basket. The name is a bit scabrous, but very exact. On top of all this, they were wearing a rubber apron, and with a shovel in hand, they went on their dates with Masha. The shift lasted only 2 minutes. But I've dreamt of those 2 minutes for the past 25 years. Every night, again and again, I accompany these people to that terrible M zone, the area covered in graphite debris. meters away from us is the naked muzzle of the destroyed reactor. My task is to show what must be removed there first. With each succeeding group, with each fragment removed, the background radiation will reduce. This means that the risk for the next group will already be lower. I will transfer a few hundred people through the zone. I will not know who they are, and I will not see their faces behind protective masks, and will never know what is going to happen to them afterwards. It was not me who had made a decision to send these men in the zone of mortal danger, but each night some inexplicable feeling of guilt brings me back to the past, in that first 2-minute shift, which stretched out for me for a quarter of a century. Our bioconveyor worked flawlessly. Sometimes the shifts were compressed to a minute, and sometimes lasted merely 15 to 20 seconds. But these seconds grew to hours, hours to days, and Masha's poisonous breath was gradually weakening. Although only the devices felt it, perhaps for the first time in military history, the army was fighting against an invisible enemy and an invisible danger, which was insidiously instilling in soldiers the sense of complacency. General Tarakanov was trying to curb such complacency, but boys will always be boys. Nikolai Tarakanov. A few days ago, he was the first to go on the roof to see where his soldiers would be sent. I think he understood it. That is why he was personally instructing each group. 100 times a day, he repeated with a hoarse voice the same words, and sometimes it seemed to me that he was saying a prayer, a clumsy, rough soldier's prayer. I hope for the health.
Теперь, как только вы подниметесь на лестницу, не торопитесь сразу кидаться на работу. Зайдите за трубу в восточную часть и отдышите.
В этом районе работ лежат блоки. Это квадратные такие блоки весом примерно по 40, по 50 килограмм.
Здесь есть вот тут вот есть дыра, площадка. Смотрите, не оступите.
Так, жизненно эту минуту отработал так, чтобы осталось память.
Наладите дыхание и потом пошли сюда.
Металлические предметы никакие не пройдут.
Да, как можно там все завалы, потому что где максимальное количество
Какие у вас есть вопросы?
So in the fall of 1986, 3,828 people passed through the roofs of the Chernobyl power station. The heroes who saved the world, the newspapers would write in a pathetic manner. In some years, the heroes will no longer be remembered, and then they will be completely forgotten. That's really where life is cheap. However, much more important for a person is what he himself appreciates in this life, and not how much someone evaluates his life.
Вы выполнили поставленную задачу. Выполнили на отлично. Я поздравляю вас с выполнением этой задачи. Желаю вам хорошего здоровья, долгих лет жизни. Все вы награждаетесь премией 800 рублей. Спасибо, лейтенант. Спасибо. 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 Служу Советскому Союзу. Спасибо. 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 Служу Советскому Союзу. Спасибо.
abandoned and discarded at the end of November. On that day, the alcohol for the decontamination of instruments for the first time was used by us not in a proper way. I was drinking in the circle of aristocrats. We never used to say rubes radiate. In the professional jargon, that sounded simply, they shine, hence the titles. If you've received up to 100 rems, Your Highness. You've picked up more already, Your Excellency. That's all the baggage we had when departing.
About half an hour.
Did I know how it might end? Did I understand that there would be hospitals ahead, the infinite visits to doctors, and finally disability?
Man, this guy is
Probably
screwed for the
not.
rest of his life.
I buried such thoughts and believed that fate would spare me. She had not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Even if I knew, I would have gone nonetheless. Today they ask me for what? I don't know what to answer. It is impossible to explain. Each man must answer such questions for himself.
What a brave soul. And these are the heroes you'll never hear the stories to. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. They only got like half an hour left. Get up. Leave. Go. Dumb sheep. Okay. There we go. Actually, I might do that. I don't know why. I just not a fan of the battle mechanics of Battlefront 2. Melee is good in that game, especially if you can get people with an ISB agent. I was watching a video where this kid got in trouble. He's like, and this teacher's like, do you really think you can do this on bus 69? I will give you a little tip in the Battlefront 2. There's a thing called NTW, like 2000 or something. And this gun can one-shot you to the face at any range. It's a sniper rifle. Alexa. Sorry there. Now I'm back. Are you playing against AIs or are you just playing against it? Like, is it downloading? Yeah, plus, I mean, both Battlefronts are not as popular as they were, but especially with Battlefront number 1. Battlefront 1's just kind of dead at this point. Really? Nice. I threw a grenade. I think I was about to throw a grenade in Phantom Forces, and I died. And I dropped it, and I could see the view of a guy who shot me, and then I see his buddy go right near the nade, and it just nukes him. I think he was oblivious. He fell to it. By the way, when you hear bomb, you can barely even hear it. I might play with you a little bit when it comes to that game. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing tonight, though. I will say people in that game can be sweaty. Oh, yep. In the AI game, yeah, Kylo Ren is easily the best. I will say, my opinion, the best character in the game is probably Luke Skywalker. Yeah, because the AI, yeah. He's fine. Darth Vader is actually not as powerful until you put him in a freaking starship. Then he's on, like, crack. Hero, Luke Skywalker, all the way. I've noticed he's got good abilities. Hmm. Oh yeah, I love that rage clip. That's literally me every time the game lags. Hold on. That's no Kylo Ren rage. Hold on. This is literally me every time it lags. I like how the storm. Okay, I'm not really a big fan of the third trilogy, like the final trilogy, but I like how the stormtroopers are like they're like like they're not gonna mess with that crap. They go the opposite direction. I L a little bit. Oh, by the way, when you get the full game, there's cards, and you can combine your cards to do really good. By the way, if you do Starfighters on the villain side, and Empire, Darth Vader is just simply the best. Even angry scenes.
We have no confirmation, but we believe FN-2187 may have helped in the escape.
The resistance is dead. The war is over. And when I kill you, junk out of the sky!
He's got rage problems.
Holding on! Let go! All firepower on those speeders. Concentrate all fire on the speeders!
I like how quick they straighten up to salute him. I like how quickly you can get that. You can see the F no faces on those stormtroopers. It's hilarious. Oh my god, that's how I love. Five Troopers trash. Yes. Is that what you're about to say? It yeah, I agree. I feel like, in my opinion, a lot of the game mechanics of like Star Wars games are a little bit wonky, but the smoothest game mechanics, I believe, are from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The first one, by the way, not the second. I haven't tried the second one. That game is so old, but it's so good. It's a Star Wars Legends game. I actually replayed it and almost completed the game until I just kind of like started playing Farming Sim in school. Like I brought my disc. It's still my backpack. It's actually right next to me. I love that game. That is such a good game. I don't think you can change the FOV of that game. Alright guys, I'm gonna sign off for tonight.